A very good evening to all our viewers, and welcome to today's edition of the Evening Review. My name is Toiwan Jabala, your host. Let's have a look at today's headlines. Tonight on the show, we are joined by Patience Masua. She's a Swapo Member of Parliament in the National Assembly, to give us a sense of what has been happening in Parliament this week as far as the appointment of the Director General of the Anti-Corruption Commission, as well as the commissioners for the ECN, the Electoral Commission of Namibia, are concerned. Honorable Masua, welcome to the show. Thank you for making time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Toivo, and good evening to your viewers.
Yeah, wonderful. For a layman, Honorable, give us a sense of some sort of framework regarding the two issues that are happening in Parliament this week.
Good. So just for some background, Parliament could not sit because of the COVID-19 regulations that were put in effect. And as a result, in order to bring these two issues to Parliament, His Excellency the President called for Parliament to sit via a proclamation. The nature of the two issues is the appointment of the commissioners of the Electoral Commission of Namibia, as well as the Director General and Deputy Director General of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Getting to the legal issues, the two acts, the Electoral Act as well as the Anti-Corruption Commission Act, allows the President to appoint in these positions. Now, we haven't even gotten to the debates in Parliament on the issue of the Director Generals, the Director General and the Deputy Director General of the ACC. We've only been dealing with the appointments for the Electoral Commission of Namibia. Now, I think fundamentally there's confusion regarding the procedure that is followed when these appointments are made. So we've seen an overwhelming opposition that came from the opposition parties, challenging the legitimacy of the entire procedure. However, when we go back to the Act, we've seen that all of the necessary steps have been taken to ensure that there was a legitimate process. The Electoral Commission Act requires that there's an independent committee that sits, and in this respect, a number of interviews were held. Lots of applications were received, a number of interviews were held, and based on that crop, all of whom were legitimately capable and able to serve on the Electoral Commission, the President sent his recommendation to Parliament. And that's where we're at now. We are now at the debating stage, where we need to ensure that these appointments are made.
The fact that the President, of course, is by law, but the fact that the President, or any President for that matter, is involved in a process of appointing electoral commissioners, if I can call them that way, it seems to be also a bone of contention apart from the procedures right now. I mean, it has been debated for many years right now. I mean, as a legal person yourself, having been trained as a lawyer, what is your attitude generally towards that stance?
I think, Toivo, fundamentally, we we overestimate the president's involvement in the process. The president is not involved in the process at all. It is just a matter of formality that the president recommends from the crop of people whom already have gone through a process of checking if they're able to objectively serve on the Electoral Commission of Namibia. So I think we shouldn't, and the media and the opposition should not overestimate and make it seem like the president chooses people that he wants to serve in the Electoral Commission, Toivo. That is not true. There are processes that take place, and mind you, the interviews that take place are done publicly. The posts are advertised, and on the basis of a committee sitting, they are the ones that select the crop of people that that meet the requirements of what it means to be a commissioner. So fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with the formality being taken with the president of the country, not the president of the Swapo party. He's acting in his capacity as the president of the Republic of Namibia. So that fundamentally needs to be looked at. He is not only the president of the Swapo party, but he's the president of the Republic of Namibia, and it's on the basis of that he has then the mandate, as per the act of the electoral act, to ensure that these people are appointed on that basis.
Yeah, but as a principle, I mean, why is it important for any president to be involved in a process like that, especially when he's a politician representing a political party, maybe not in that capacity now, but he's a leader of a political party. And I'm not just referring to President Geingob as a person. I'm referring to any other president that will come after him. It can be Mark Henry Venani next year or another year. Just the principle itself of a president being involved in anything like that, as a law person yourself, do you think it's a good thing?
It's nothing new, and it's nothing distinctively done in Namibia, Toivo. This is a phenomenon in many countries where the president is not directly involved in the process of recruiting per se, but of the crop, and based on the submissions of an independent committee that assesses the credibility, the objectivity, the integrity of all of these applicants. It's on the basis of that that he's involved in the process, and it's not anything that is new. It's not a new phenomenon. It's not distinctive to Namibia. This is something that is a formality that is practiced all over the world. So it's nothing new, Toivo. Whether it was a Swapo party president, whether it was a president of the opposition parties, it's nothing new, and it's nothing distinctive to Namibia. It's a matter of formality.
Yeah, no, I'm asking that because I'm one of those, and my views are known publicly about that. I don't think personally that the president should be involved in anything like that. But let's move on. Let's not labor that point. Another thing that over which Parliament is sitting is, of course, as you mentioned in your introductory remarks, the appointment of the Director General and his deputy at the ACC.
Correct.
Just, how do I put this to you? Again, let's talk about the principle first of the involvement of any president in appointing the head of the anti-corruption body. Is that a correct procedure in your view?
Toivo, the appointment by the president is subject to the requirements and procedures that are set out in the Anti-Corruption Act. If somebody complies with all of those requirements, integrity, qualification, etc., 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 what is the fundamental reason why such a person may not be appointed? What is the fundamental reason why somebody may not be appointed? the president appoints as a matter of formality, but that formality is subject to the preconditions that are set out within the Anti-Corruption Commission Act. And that act has time and time again has the act been tested to ensure that the standards and the criteria that is set out in the act are of such a nature to ensure that whoever is chosen is the right person that can lead the ACC and that meets those standards that are set out in the Anti-Corruption Commission Act.
Let me sketch for you a picture, Honorable Masua. Mr. Paulus Noa was first appointed by President Hifikepunye Pohamba in 2016, 2006 rather, to serve in that position. And, you know, towards the end of Mr. Pohamba's presidency, there were issues, for example, his daughters getting tenders for, was it mass housing and stuff like that. And we haven't, of course, there were a lot of allegations. How did she get a tender? What procedures were followed and whatnot? Do you think an anti-corruption body boss appointed by a president in a scenario like that could have even dared to investigate a matter like that when you're actually investigating the daughter of your appointing authority?
100%. Toivo, I think it's very important that we look at this issue through the lens of the precedent that has been set. We mustn't ignore the fact that the ACC it has a fundamental duty to investigate corruption across the board, whether or not you're a Swapo party member, whether or not you're, whoever's daughter you may be, the anti-corruption has that mandate. But the Anti-Corruption Commission cannot involve itself in the matters of the judiciary, so much so that we prosecute even though there's not enough evidence, merely to prove that the commission is able to bite. We've seen, Toivo, that the fish rod matter, for example, is being prosecuted. Why is it being prosecuted? Because the judiciary has, on a balance of probabilities, they've seen that the matter is weighty, and they've seen that there's enough evidence to perhaps, whatever their reasons may be, prosecute. We cannot unfairly tilt the law in favor or against certain people where there is not enough proof, merely on the basis of their affiliation, on the basis of their relation to powerful people, perhaps. I think both ends of the spectrum are very dangerous. Leniency is dangerous, but prosecuting where honestly there isn't enough credible evidence to ensure that a valid prosecution takes place are both equally dangerous. So I think oftentimes we take what is in the media and we take it to be 100% factually correct, when sometimes that isn't the case. When sometimes when things get to a prosecuting stage, there isn't enough evidence. And I think to answer your question, there is no reason why anybody in the Republic of Namibia cannot be dealt with or cannot be investigated against under the ACC simply by affiliation. It's ridiculous. We've seen it. It has been tested, and I don't, and I've been following the debates currently in Parliament. We are not seeing what the arguments are that fundamentally challenge the capacity, ability, experience, and credibility of the people that are to be appointed. We see it as an agenda to merely oppose and delay because it is a Swapo party government. And we need to watch out for that. Toivo, if you tuned into Parliament yesterday, for example, allegations are being spewed around, but there is no evidence to substantiate it. The Speaker consistently reiterated on the issue of the ECN appointments that all procedures have been followed. Allegations are being thrown around that procedures have not been followed, but nothing is being said to say, well, out of these people that have been chosen, are they not capable? Are they not experienced? Are they not qualified? None of that is being brought forth. So it's really tactical and it's really strategic that these delays are being brought forth to make it seem like there are irregularities, to make it seem like there's an agenda to appoint people on the basis of their affiliation. That's not true. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen many officials that, for example, are locked up now. We wouldn't have seen that if we are claiming that the DG of the ACC wouldn't dare. He would, and that has been tested.
I hear you, but you see, Patience, in the case of the fish rot, for example, you and I are likely to agree that if it wasn't for those revelations by the international media, that the gentlemen that are in jail today wouldn't be in there today because the
I'm
ACC...
happy you brought that up, because that is a false narrative that is being spread. No, I'm happy you brought it up. I'm very happy you brought it up. Let me correct you, because you are incorrect. Let me correct you. Let me correct you. You are incorrect.
Go ahead.
Toivo, fish rot was not, it did not start with international media. That's false. That's incorrect. We both know that's incorrect.
But that is exactly the point.
This thing has been investigated long before, since I think was it 2013, when before being investigated. So this is a process that has been coming along since 2013 already.
But that is
what the international media perhaps did was they brought it forth very quickly, but nowhere must it be falsely claimed that the issue was not already being investigated long before it was investigated.
But
long before it came out.
But that is exactly
National media.
Yeah. Sorry, Patience, for cutting you there. That is exactly where the problem is, because ACC had known all these things. I even wrote in one of my editorials this week that ACC had known all these things going on that whole time. If it wasn't for that report, even with the evidence that they have gathered through since 2013, as you say, nothing of the sort that happened eventually would have happened if it wasn't in the public gallery. That is very controversial.
No, it's not. It's not, Toivo. The fact that ACC was already investigating the matter tells you that the matter was already of great concern. Whether international media was involved or not, this would have been the course of events. It would have been the course of events. You are suggesting that the ACC was complicit perhaps in hiding information. That's not true. The matter was being investigated, and that should tell you that this ACC DG that you are claiming is perhaps not able to serve, is perhaps not impartial enough. He was investigating against two of Swapo party ministers. So that should give you a glimpse of impartiality, and it should give you a glimpse of objectivity.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like Mr. Noah only acted once it was apparent that he had actually no other choice but to, because all eyes of the nation were on him. But again, I respect your view on that. Maybe as we edge towards the closure of our conversation again on the ACC patience, there is this Cora case, for example, and I spoke about it on this show, I think on Tuesday, where I said, the Cora case, if you go to the affidavits of that case in court right now, the name of the president is on record in those affidavits, all over the affidavits, as claimed, of course, by Ernest Ajowi, who ran away. Isn't it so convenient, for example, that ACC is not involved in that case at all, because the appointing authority of Mr. Noah is named all over the papers in that particular case?
That's not correct, Toivo. Namibia is a country that is greatly celebrated internationally for the separation of powers that we greatly respect. And one of the things that we do need to respect is the independence of the judiciary. We've seen time and time and again that the judiciary acts objectively. The judiciary acts in good faith. And this has been tested in our courts. This has been tested in our courts time and time again. The ACC has its mandate, and the ACC, to the extent at which it can act, it does act. I won't go into details of the specifics of that case, but we must at all material times respect the separation of powers. We need to respect the work of the judiciary, and we have faith that the judiciary will act at all material times in service of the people of the Republic of Namibia, and that the judiciary will always act in good faith.
But that is also very, very interesting, honorable, because that particular court case, there was a time, I think late 2019, when the local media only found out later that this matter was going on already in court. But it was, what is the term that you guys use in law when no people are allowed to attend the hearing or something? I think it was labeled in person or something. I can't remember the exact wording of that. And last year, the judge president, who is also the appointee of the president of the head of state, wrote a proposal for certain cases to be heard in secret. All these things, the sequence is very worrying.
No, don't suggest that the president picks and chooses. There's a process through recommendations by the Judicial Service Commission, on the basis of which a number of steps and requirements need to be fulfilled before such appointments are made. Once again, just a formality. That aside, in order to, certain cases, because of the sensitivity and because of the nature of the cases, they're not heard publicly. Those are legal instruments that are put in place by the judiciary. I can't speak on behalf of the judiciary. I don't form part of the judiciary, but I do think that it should tie into sensitivity in terms of why certain cases are heard in that manner.
Yeah, no, of course. I don't know what sensitivity would have been there for the Cora case, but I know that there are cases like where you need to protect the identity of rape victims or minor children and whatnot. But again, I respect your view. Let me put the last question to you, Honorable Masua, and that is, who are you are you actually going to endorse the appointment of Mr. Noah? when
Just
Parliament sits now to finally make that. I know that that matter has been off the table for a few days now, but when it eventually comes, you seem to be confident that Mr. Noa has done his good work and is worth your vote.
100%. We do think that in terms of the requirements of the Anti-Corruption Commission Act, followed by the recommendation by His Excellency, coupled with the experience that Mr. Noa possesses, these are our candidates for the Director General and the Deputy Director General of the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Indeed. Patience Masua, thank you very much for joining us tonight on the show. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is Patience Masua. She's a Swapo Member of Parliament. She's actually the youngest Member of Parliament in the National Assembly at the moment, talking to us about the current extraordinary sitting of that House of Parliament to discuss the appointment of the Director General of the ACC as well as commissioners for the ECN. Thank you for watching. But as a matter of fact, there's something small coming right after this from the Olympics.
We were born for this moment. For every rise, every fall, to make the impossible possible. To create moments that inspire and live the thrill of excellence.
On the grandest stage of all.
Forget the past, for the future awaits. This is that moment we've all been waiting for pride, for country, for you.
Brilliant performance that was.
The Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. It's go time on GoTV. Love it.
Here we go. This is a bit better the view. You can see the stadium. There you can see the big screen. Just have a look at this amazing atmosphere without anybody here. How beautiful is this not?